I didn't flinch when he signed the divorce papers. Not even when his mother reached across the table, smug in her widow pearls, and whispered, "Guess you'll finally be able to fit into something white again." She thought she won. But she never understood what a woman becomes when she's been humiliated in lace and blood-red wine, under the eyes of 200 guests and a groom who stood there and said nothing. No, she never saw me coming. The first time I met Judith, she smelled like rosewater and rot. It was our third date when he took me to her estate, the kind of house with too many mirrors and not enough warmth. She smiled like she already owned me. Back then, I thought it was just nerves. I called her intense. I laughed off the way she corrected my posture, or how she squeezed my arm a second too hard when I reached for the last piece of bread. I thought she was trying. God, I was stupid. She wasn't trying. She was marking, measuring how much control she could have. And I gave her room. I gave her everything. Until the wedding. I should have known when she offered to help me into my dress. The stylists had already left. The photographers were outside. Everyone was waiting. My dress, 6 months of fittings, French lace, the kind of white that makes you feel like a beginning, hung on the back of the door. Pristine. She smiled. "Let me zip you up." The zipper caught. I felt it before I heard it, the sharp breath, the sudden shift in air. Then the splash. Cold, sharp, deep red. Across the bodice, down the lace. "Oh," she whispered, her mouth curling into something almost sexual. Oops. She didn't look sorry. She looked satisfied. I stepped back. My breath didn't shake. I didn't scream. The room was silent, except for the laughter bubbling up from the reception hall. 200 guests, and she walked me in there anyway, smiling, arm around me. "A little wine never hurt anyone," she giggled into the mic. The crowd went quiet. Then polite laughter. Then stares. His eyes never met mine. But that's not the moment I broke. That happened 20 minutes later. I walked out of that hall like a ghost, past guests who couldn't meet my eyes, past bridesmaids whispering in corners. I went straight to the bridal suite, locked the door, sat still, and then I smiled. Because I remembered the USB drive I'd hidden in my clutch, and the backup drive in my luggage, and the copies I had emailed to a very curious investigative blogger. Judith should have never let me into her life. She should have never let her laptop open when she drank. She should have never forgotten I used to work in compliance. 6 months before the wedding, I found it. Buried deep in a spreadsheet she was stupid enough to send me. "Just help me track the wine vendors," she said. But the spreadsheet had tabs, and Judith forgot to delete her real ones. A shell company, 3 offshore accounts, and a series of quiet donations to a non-existent charity, one that matched withdrawals from her late husband's trust. She'd been bleeding her son dry for years, hiding it under his name, selling off assets in secret while gaslighting him into thinking he had gambling problems. The cherry? The prenup she insisted I sign for family harmony, forged signatures, sloppily. I kept it quiet. I waited. Because Judith didn't just want me gone. She wanted me erased. She underestimated a woman who doesn't scream when she bleeds. I returned to the reception in a black dress. Not symbolic, just dry. The music was low, the room still buzzing from the spectacle. I tapped the DJ, slipped him a flash drive. "Play this." He hesitated, then hit enter. Screens flickered, then spreadsheets, wire transfers, audio clips, her voice, clear as crystal, boasting about how dumb her son was, how easy it was to hide money, how the wedding was just a formality for optics. Gasps, silence. Then the final slide. "This wedding is canceled due to fraud, manipulation, and embezzlement. Enjoy the wine." I walked out before the lights came on. By morning, she was a headline. Heiress mother-in-law caught in multi-million-dollar embezzlement scheme exposed at son's wedding. Her assets? Frozen. Her name? Dragged. Her social circle? Gone. And her son? He texted once. Why? I replied with a photo. My ruined dress hanging in the bridal suite, still wet. I wrote, "You married your mother. I just divorced the both of you. I don't regret a thing. Not the wedding, not the silence, not the 20 minutes it took to destroy her. I just regret I didn't do it sooner." Some women walk down the aisle to start a life. I walked down it to end a bloodline. And God, it was beautiful.